Welcome back to Rome Boys. On this episode, we have a special guest, Father Donald Calloway.
Yeah.
Super
Hey,
special.
guys.
Howdy.
Well, I'm going to read a quick little brief bio on Father Calloway. He is a convert to Catholicism, a member of the Congregation of Marian Fathers of the Immaculate Conception. Before his conversion to Catholicism, he was a high school dropout and had to be kicked out of a foreign country,
Woohoo.
institutionalized twice, and thrown in jail multiple times. I don't know about y'all, but it sounds like my 20s were kind of dull in comparison. After his radical conversion, he earned a BA in philosophy from theology from the Franciscan University of Steubenville, a couple of degrees from the Dominican House of Studies in Washington, D.C., and a degree in Mariology from the International Marian Research Institute in Dayton, Ohio. Father Calloway has written many academic articles. He is also the author of several books, and the most recent being Consecration to St. Joseph. He is a well-known conference speaker on Divine Mercy and the Blessed Virgin Mary. Welcome, Father Calloway.
Yes.
Oh, thanks, guys. Good to be with you. Yeah. So it's funny, all those things you read, I did those before I was 20.
Got to get it out of the way, right?
Well, I was going to ask, you kind of live the rock star kind of lifestyle. What does it feel like being a Catholic rock star right now?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, man. You ever hear that song by Bob Seger, Turn the Page?
Yeah.
That's about what I feel like right now. I'm tired, man. Every day is just like more and more stuff. It's awesome, but come December 8th, the close of the year of St. Joseph, I'm going to go on vacation.
Until next December 8th.
Lots of beaches to go surfing, huh?
There you go.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, it's kind of cool because, we hear your name quite a bit from other folks that we talk to. I was interviewed yesterday by Ave Maria Radio, and Vanessa Dina Garmo said, Chris, I've got his book right here in front of me. We're doing the consecration to St. Joseph right now, me and my whole family. So
wow.
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Super cool. Yeah, the book is, it's off the charts, guys. It's we've sold over 500,000 copies. And that's just the paperback. That doesn't include the ebook, audiobook, and all the world stuff.
And we were at the Midwest Catholic Family Conference, and there was a time there that you're like, I don't even know if it's going to go to print. And it seemed like the devil was working there and trying to stop it. You want to share it with that? I mean, it obviously worked out, but. Yeah,
no, it was crazy stuff. And some of it, I can't say because it's church politics stuff, crazy stuff, man. But there was a time when I thought literally this isn't going to happen. And I was dying inside, man, because I spent 3 years putting it together. So I basically had to sacrifice it in the sense of let it go and just be like, Lord, I thought this is what you wanted. All right, if it's not, or if people are getting in the way, whatever, I surrender it. And then that's when major prayer came my way, and it came to fruition. And now it's everywhere.
It's everywhere. It actually reminds me, you just talked about 500,000 print copies. In the interview and yesterday on the radio, we're talking about how amazing it is that Father Mike Schmidt's Bible in a Year is the #1 podcast in the world.
Yep.
That's
amazing.
Incredible.
Isn't that amazing?
It's amazing.
Yeah, I know. It's incredible.
Beating all genres. And so obviously the world is hungry for it.
Yeah.
I mean, 500,000 copies, the world is hungry.
They're thirsting.
Yeah,
totally. Gives you some hope.
Totally.
It's all bad.
Totally. Well, something cool is Father Mike Schmidt's, I think it was like a week ago or something like that. He was going over the Joseph of the Old Testament. And so he plugged my book. I was like, yes.
The numbers.
That's awesome.
Oh, 750,000 copies.
On that point, it's cool because I keep referencing this interview. It just happened yesterday. And so I'm excited about it, of course, but we had mentioned something about Rome Boys when it came about. There is no competition for the gospel. Like everybody needs to get out there and share it, right? So when you say that, like the ability for you to get that exposure. I mean, that's what God needs, is that exposure through every media source, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, totally. You're right. It's not a competition, and we've been given it freely, right? I mean, it's free of charge for the gospel. So let's everybody do your part, whether it's big or small. To God, everything is big. So absolutely.
Yes.
Well, our motto is be real, be bold, be Catholic. And I think you fit that description very well. So that we're so blessed to have you on for sure.
Yeah. Thanks for being real.
Yeah. I try to be. Sometimes I'm a little too real. You might have to filter out something, but
yeah, no, I mean, when you're looking at like being in a war, for people's souls with the devil, quite honestly.
Yeah, right.
There is no battle between God and the devil. It's all about us, right? I mean, that's what God has created us.
You can't hesitate. We got to speak the truth and let it be. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. That's exactly right. Yeah.
So, Father, you have an amazing conversion story. Do you have a compact version of that, or?
Oh yeah, I can give you the 2 minute, 5 minute, 15-minute, hour.
Whatever the Spirit says, go for it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I wasn't born Catholic. I wasn't born anything. I wasn't baptized. As a baby. My parents didn't believe in religion, and so I was in. I had 3 fathers before I was 10 years old. So that had a pretty negative impact on me because of all that I was seeing. So when I got into my preteen years, like starting when I was 11, 12 years old, I mean, I already started drinking, smoking marijuana, and looking at pornography and all that stuff, and just really jacked me up. It really messed me up. And then when I got my teen years, it just got really crazy. So that's when my third father was a military officer, and we were moving around, and we ended up in Japan. And that's when I was doing a lot of drugs, a lot of crazy stuff, and ran away from home in Japan and got involved with the Japanese mafia, the Yakuza, and was running drugs for them. I mean, I was 15 years old at this point, it was nuts. Yeah. And, had long hair, growing it when I was 20, it was all the way down to my waist. But I ended up getting kicked out of Japan, going to 2 drug and alcohol rehabilitation centers here in the States, got thrown in jail in Louisiana as soon as I turned 18. Was just a wreck. But through that craziness, right, my mom and my stepdad, they had a radical conversion to Catholicism, praise God, and fell madly in love with Jesus Christ and just became super zealous. I thought they had joined a cult. I was like, you guys are whack. I literally thought they were going to move to like Uganda, drink some Kool-Aid and off themselves and follow little green men throughout the cosmos. I had no idea what Catholicism was. And so, but they were praying for me. And that big time praying the rosary, all these novenas. So a few years after their conversion, I ended up having what I call my divine 2x4, right? God just bam with the truth. And I fell madly in love with Jesus Christ. I was like, I'd been searching actually for meaning my whole life. And as the cliche goes, and they're all the wrong places. But when I had this experience of coming to know Jesus and believing in him, because I thought all that stuff was a myth. It was a fairy tale, some cartoon, but then I realized it was real, and everything changed. I mean, I cut my hair, I got a job, I cleaned up my act, my language, everything. And then I became Catholic at mock speed, because it was through the military archdiocese, which is a little different because they don't have as kind of orderly as a process because they're all around the world. So mine was a little different. And then within 1 year of that, I got my call to be a priest. And that took a long time because I had to study. I didn't have a high school diploma. I had to get my GED. I had to get community college, then regular college, then seminary, and all that. That took 10 years. And that was torturous.
Yeah.
That was not easy, man. But now I've been a priest for 18 years. And now I speak, write books, and all that stuff. And I'm no better than anybody else, man. I'm a sinner, broke, wounded, got baggage and issues. But I know God loves me, and I know his mercy for me. And I know what the truth is now. And that changes everything. I mean, because my heart goes out to the young people today. I mean, I don't know if I'd make it.
It's crazy.
It's insane, bro. I mean, at least in my day, we know that a dude trying to use a girl's bathroom was a perv. Today, it's called normal. I don't know, man. So I'm praying like hard for this generation because they got a tough go at it.
Well,
Praise God.
you got a pretty powerful story, and I just want to say I can relate to a lot of it. Just not knowing my dad when I was a kid, and doing all the wrong stuff and making all the wrong decisions.
I mean, your conversion, and when you talk about it, like you were weeping so much that you filled like your drawer. You were saying like your clothes were soaked. I mean, that's some serious letting it all go and letting Christ in. That's
totally
awesome.
I call that experience my divine detox.
Yeah.
And I did. I just cried my eyes out, man. It was a gift. God gave me that gift, and I've never cried like that in my life, and probably never will again. It was I didn't even know that my body had that much fluid. It was,
Yeah.
Wow, amazing.
It's a lot of people go after drugs for that experience that you had because of Christ, right? Like they want that, and they'll never have it like that first time again, right?
Yeah.
And they're always searching for that. So,
totally.
Just, it's a great analogy. That yearning is pretty awesome. You paint a good picture.
Yeah. It's funny because I never knew I could speak publicly and write books and stuff.
Yeah.
In seminary, I learned that. I watched like a ton of Fulton Sheen videos.
Awesome.
And I was like, that guy's nailed it. I'm like, and I can't totally replicate it. Like if I wore a cape and started doing all these wild gestures today, what's up with that?
Get you a chalkboard and
yeah, right. But his method and just the simplicity of it, and yet hammer in the truth.
Yeah.
That's what I try and do. So
he was so before his time, utilizing communications in the ways he did.
Yeah.
So before his time.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally.
Well, we alluded to the world's a mess right now, as you talked about. So give us some hope. What can we as laity do to help turn it around? Obviously with Christ's help and his grace, but
we got to do our part, right? I mean, you think big, but you got to do what you can just on your everyday basis, and that can be huge. The impact of that can be huge, because if you think about it, like what are the latest statistics? 52% of all marriages are ending in divorce today, so more than half. 1/4, so 25% of children do not grow up with a father. I mean, this is not good, right? But we can make a difference. So if we try and be the best men that we can be according to our vocation, that can have a huge impact. I mean, if you're there, like for you guys, like with your wife and your family, your kids, and truly present, it's cliche, quality time, but it's true, man. Like,
absolutely.
And for me as a priest, I've got to make myself available. I've got to be there for people. And it stretches me. Sometimes I just want to be alone, and I need that, of course, we all do. But, we have to be the men that God has called us to be in these times. And because I think at the root of a lot of the problems in society and in the church, sadly, is that the devil has been going after fatherhood. He's been going after, women for ages, from the beginning of time.
Yeah.
But now it's like he's aware of something, and he's trying to get fathers out of families, make them look like buffoons and idiots on sitcoms, so that even their wife and children mock them, make fun of them in front of everybody. The fathers just look like a bunch of idiots today on television. And we got to turn that around, and we can. And that's why I think that we've got the gift of St. Joseph right now, who the church is telling us to go to. Unlike any other time in church history, we are living in the craziest of times, and yet extraordinarily blessed times, because we've got a special gift in the person of St. Joseph right now.
And so, I hear so many people all the time. We have people, even our family members, ask us questions like, what can he tell us? What can the Rome boys tell us about St. Joseph? Well, there's a lot right here. But a lot of people just don't know. I know what absolutely our Protestant brothers and sisters don't know.
Sure,
because I mean, they have Christmas and then move on, and that's an understatement. I get it, but yeah,
absolutely. We're big fans of the book, especially. How did you come up with so much material on a man who never said anything in the Bible?
I know, right? Is Father Calloway just fudging it here? What are you doing? How'd you get all this information? Well, it's a good point. But, with St. Joseph, it really is true that actions speak louder than words. So we see what he does. And that's important. For most guys, that tends to be the case. A lot of men don't tend to be much for words. Women are always complaining about that. Why don't you say anything?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I'm doing stuff. That's how I speak, man. Yeah, I do stuff.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly true with Saint Joseph, and so we can see his humility, his obedience, his being courageous, purity for sure, right? Living with the most beautiful woman who ever walked the planet, had to have a chaste heart and right intention, and so focused on the mission that God had given him. And so when you unpack that stuff, just even from like what was required of him during that time, like a lot of walking, going to Egypt, but then, in Judaism at that time, the men had to go to Jerusalem 3 times a year for certain festivities. If you add that up, man, like 3 times a year, let's just say 30 years, and certainly he was older than that, but 30 years, that math alone means he walked 3/4 of the way around the planet.
Wow.
So that tells you this dude was in shape. He wasn't some old geezer in the background about to croak. And unfortunately, that's how he's been depicted in a lot of paintings. But they only did that, to try and safeguard the virginity of Mary. They thought to protect her virginity, they had to show him as some old geezer about to die. But that's not true, right? It's actually more virtuous for a young man to be chaste than an old man, So when you get that understanding of Joseph, you're like, okay, who is this guy then? And then you realize that God put him in charge of his son, which means he must be stellar, right? That you would not entrust, if you're God, you're not going to entrust your son into some, second-rate person. You're going to give him like the best. You're going to give him like the ultimate man, the terror of demons, you know what I mean? So that's who he is. And so when you come to know that, and that's what I spent 3 years doing, was getting all the stuff that saints said about him, what apparitions he's appeared in, miracles associated with him, shrines dedicated to him, religious communities did, what popes have said. When you gather all that information, your mind is blown by St. Joseph. You're like, where have you been all my life, dude? Like, I want to be like you. I mean, you're like the ultimate dude.
Yeah, for sure.
You're the father of Mary in devotion. You're the stand-in for God the Father for his son. You're the husband of the Blessed Virgin Mary. You're the first one to call Mary your lady, right? You said to her, my lady. You're the most chivalrous soldier, battle-ready knight there ever was.
Yeah.
I'm like, sign me up.
Yeah, I love that. It constantly reminds me of Exodus 4 and Moses, where he puts his wife and his sons on the donkey and they go back to Egypt. And, it's such a great, powerful analogy because right before that, God said, Moses said, no, I can't be your words. I can't speak for you. I'm a terrible speaker. And then God said, oh, yeah, well, you're going to be like me. God, you're going to have to put my words in Aaron's mouth. Well, don't tell me no. Well, Joseph is that same analogous person. He is, the representation of God and the Father for Jesus. So awesome. You get me fired up.
And I love how you say terror of demons, because in the church, we don't talk about the devil. We don't talk about hell. And when I did the consecration with my 4 boys, I have 3 daughters as well. But with the 4 boys, their eyes light up because we are made as men to battle the devil and to help save souls. And this is what we're made for. So that's the title that they clung to.
Oh yeah. And I'm not surprised. Most boys, when they go through the litany of his titles, they're all awesome. But when they hear Terror of Demons, they're like, what?
Yeah.
Because they don't really see him in art depicted that way often. Yeah. And so when they see that, they're like, okay, what makes him the terror of demons? Why is he intimidating like that? And then when you tell them, like, because that staff he's holding is not the cane of an old man. It's the spear, the lance of a spiritual warrior, and he's going to ram it through a dragon's throat. I mean, his purity is power. And when you explain it to them in that way, they're like, nice, never thought of it that way.
Put him right next to St. Michael, man.
Totally.
And Moses is,
right. There you go.
That's true. It's the same analogy.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So I was going to ask this, and it was one of our questions, which is what's inspired you to stay on fire for your faith going forward? But let me add something to the beginning of that, which is, was there one person, I know you said your parents were praying hard for you, probably like St. Augustine's, but was there a person along the way, like a friend or anyone that kind of helped bring you into the faith and to know it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Big time. So my first encounter with Catholics outside of my mom and my dad, as converts, were little Filipino women. And let me tell you something. These women mean business. Like if you encounter a super zealous Catholic Filipino woman, you just signed up for the special forces of God. I mean, these are the Green Berets in the spiritual life. They mean business, right?
Up there with the Carmelite nuns,
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So they taught me how to pray the rosary, about the novenas, about the Stations of the Cross. It was one of them actually who showed me the statue of St. Joseph in the first church that I went to and told me all about him. And I started to go before that statue and ask him to help me repair my wounded manhood. And he did, and he still does. And so, yeah, those women, God bless those women, I tell you, because I think that God has strategically placed Filipino women all over the planet right now, because wherever they go, they bring Catholicism.
Nice.
Like in the past, it used to be the Irish, right? The Irish were the great missionaries of the world. Now it's like Filipinos, man. So you could go like to the most random country bumpkin parish in the middle of nowhere, and there's like a Filipino woman in that thing. How'd you even get here? She's like, I'm a nurse. It's like, of course you're a nurse. They're always a doctor or a nurse,
Yeah.
But they're like, you open her, like if she opened her purse, she's got about 5 pounds of devotional material in it. It's crazy. They're like born with a novena in Manila. It's like,
Yeah.
So thank God for those people. Yeah.
So our priest is from the Philippines, Father Ariel.
See?
Yeah. And my stepmother is from the Philippines. Now, she was devout Catholic when she was there. She moved to the United States.
Okay.
And my dad is not. And so somewhat anti-Catholic, actually. Yeah.
So pray for them.
Pray for
Yeah, I will. I will. Yeah.
Christina is my stepmom's name. So a special prayer.
She's got that Catholicism in her DNA. So at some point, it's going to turn on big time.
Amen. Amen.
Yes. Come, Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So, but so what then keeps you on fire? Because you definitely got fire.
Because I'm sure the devil is still tempting you with all those sins of the past, and like he's, you're aware of him. Yeah.
Sure.
I know St. Augustine talked about it.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a dude, right? I'm not a robot or an angel. I mean, I live in the world where my eyes see things, so I have to constantly be, watching myself and guarding myself. And I think what keeps me wanting to just be aflame with this zeal and love is I know what the darkness offers, and it's just so dissatisfying. I mean, does it feel good momentarily? Sure, right? But in the end, you end up naked in the corner crying. You know what I mean? It's horrible. Sin sucks. You know what I mean? It really messes you up. It warps you. It leaves you depressed, bummed, and just a weight on you. And so I know the burden of that. And I'm like, Lord, I don't want that. I want you, and I want the light. I want the truth. And, I'm constantly reminded of my former life by simply living my daily life today. I mean, when I turn on the TV today, good night. It's like, this is garbage, man. It's like
insane. Yeah.
Why? I'm like, man, I'm all in, man. All my chips on you, because ain't no way I'm going back to that nonsense.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty clear.
We're going through my wife and family Exodus 90, and they're doing Fiat 90, and so a lot of asceticism. Well, on Sunday we turned on the TV just for a little bit, and this scantily clad woman's on there, and Melissa just looked straight at me like, I'm not looking.
Right.
Let's just turn off the TV. We don't need it.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh,
Crazy.
it's awful.
You can see why a lot of people just get rid of the TV, because it's a near occasion of sin.
Totally. It is. Like, I just like, it's been a rough year and a half, right? Everybody's been struggling. So just the other day, I was like, all right, I want to watch the Super Bowl, right? I haven't been watching any games. I don't even really care, but I was going to watch it. And then I'm like, this is horrible. And then you got like dudes wearing diapers on their face for the halftime.
No,
I'm like, what is this?
Yeah.
I'm like,
I know.
insane, man.
That's crazy.
I've got a serious question for you. It's about reconciliation. So, sorry, I didn't prepare you for this one. And anyways, I'm just going to throw it out there. But, a lot of guys struggle. And I had a good confessor that really helped me. But, you talk about like seeing things in the world. And so some folks bring this stuff into the confessional. But when is it actually grave sin, and what has to take place there? I think I've received some good information on that, because we're going to see stuff, right? and it might be a fleeting thought, but if you give it away, you know, and give it back to God and don't take action on it, right? You see where I'm going with the question? Am I making sense?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, if we didn't have desires and weren't attracted to things physically that we see, I mean, there'd be no babies, you know? So God gave you this. It's wonderful, you know, but you can only go so far with things that are not yours. So, and then even with things that are yours, like if you're married, that doesn't give you permission to live like an animal within your marriage. You have to be dignified. You have to be respectful of your wife's body. There's certain things that go certain places and certain places they don't go. And so you've got to know, you know, and you got to be informed. And a lot of men today do really struggle with lust because we do live in this pornographic, filthy era where a mouse click away, you can see anything and everything, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is a great danger. And I have to say, as a priest hearing confessions, I would say that's numero uno among the sins of men is lust and pornography and all the things that happen from pornography. So when you go to confession, obviously, like you said, you know, thoughts throughout the day are going to come to your mind. If they're lustful thoughts, you just let them go. You don't entertain them. Don't dwell on them. Don't start thinking it out. You know, you don't get
right.
That's when you're in the danger zone, right? Warning, warning, warning should be going off. And that requires discipline. It does. You have to control your will, your mind, your desires, your intentions. And the ascetical life, as you said, is very important, like fasting, living a disciplined life and everything. If you're a lazy bum and a slouch, good luck. It's going to be a tough go. So when you go to confession, right, it's fine to confess, you know, what we call venial sins, the little ones, right, where you don't lose sanctifying grace. But confession really is made for the big ones when you do, like mortal sins, where you fall out of grace, you know. And so those are the kind of things where you really have to know what you're doing. You have to kind of planned it out, so to speak, and thought about it. And then you just do it. You're like, the heck with it. I'm just going for it, man. Yeah. We all make mistakes sometimes that aren't premeditated and aren't really thought out. We're just weak and wounded. Like St. Paul says, right? My spirit's so willing, man, but my flesh, you know,
it's true.
I mean, it's so true. You can come out of a holy hour. You're all spiritually jacked. And then you see something, you're like, Shazam! You know, it's like, what had just happened there? You know, I was on my knees for an hour, you know?
Right.
So
I think people need to hear this though, because it's real and it's the truth. Yeah. And I think so many people struggle with it, but they need to know that God loves them. And they're not, you know, that's a trick of the darn devil trying to get in there and put a wedge between your mind and your heart and mix you all up. And
And the saints were real, and they were humans too. They didn't have rosy cheeks and float in the sky all the time. Like they were real, you know. Like they were real people that sinned. I mean, the righteous person sins 7 times a day. They were sinning too. You know, why did John Paul II go so often to confession? Because he needed it.
I know. I think he went every week, and sometimes every day he would go. I'm like, dang.
For real.
The bar's high.
Although I can't help but wonder what he was confessing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not supposed to know, but I've heard it said that, you know, hearing a nun's confession is like being stoned to death with marshmallows. So I can only imagine that St. John Paul II was like, okay, I stubbed my toe and I mumbled about it.
Right.
Well, sin is definitely a poison. So what advice would you give to married couples and parents to help grow in our Catholic faith, help keep our children growing in our Catholic faith and faithful to our church?
Raise up a solid generation,
Yeah, well, you definitely, you know, there's that term, and it's true, the domestic church, right? So you have to, don't just leave the observance of your religion for when you go to the literal church, which you need to do. But at the same time, you need to turn your home into that sanctuary where truth reigns and light. And you have to protect that, you know, especially as men, as the fathers of a household. Don't let in the darkness. And that can be hard in these times because all the kids want the latest, greatest device and this, that, and the other. You know, Judy's got one, Dad. And it's like, well, I know, but Judy's got a jacked up family too, you know. So, you know, trying to prevent that, honey. So just being a prayerful family, being a real family, what you don't want to be is some frumpy, you know, I'm not saying leave it the Little House on the Prairie was, boring or anything. It's probably excellent. We could probably go back to that. But you don't want to be weird, right? Because sometimes you meet families that they're like, okay, they're Orthodox as all get out. They can recite the catechism in Latin to you, but they're weird, bro. So you got to be a real family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you got to have fun together. You got to be all that kind of stuff, and be pious, be super devout, pray together, all that kind of stuff. Absolutely, without a doubt. But you need to be socially normal and just a real deal. Like the Holy Family, for example, right? We were talking about Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. They're like perfect on every level. But I guarantee you they weren't weird. They weren't socially awkward. They didn't just stare at each other all day either in the home. Like, okay, take one, we're going to pray morning prayer, and then we'll stand here for 4 hours until we pray again.
Yeah,
they lived a normal life.
Yeah, people can't. So many people can't be drawn into that. They think that's just so far of a possibility to us. In the normal way of things, I should say.
And you mentioned before you started off, before you talked to us, you were doing a priest conference, and I find that. Yes, we need super holy priests, but we equally need real priests, and talk about what they struggle in, that they're human, and like, what are they going through, because we can relate to them,
Yeah. No, it's true. It is true. I mean, you have to be real. Obviously, you don't want to be just throwing out your dirty laundry to everybody. Like if I got up there and gave a homily, and it's weird, somebody needs to call the bishop. If I need some time off,
right.
But you do need to be real in the sense of, relatable and just a real guy living in the real world. And you do need to be father, right? You need to be that for them. You need to be the hero for them because they expect that of you, and you need to be that for them. And at the same time, it's okay to, when you're outside of the liturgy and you're hanging out with families, go over to family's house and have a beer. It's like, because a lot of people don't think that priests are normal. Like, here's a funny one. I'll tell you a funny one. Now, I don't know who's going to watch this in the future. I might scandalize people. I don't know. But
probably not.
It always cracks me up when I go to the restroom publicly and I'm standing there and people leave because they don't think that a priest goes to the urinal, I'm just like, hello, it's just another thing to me. It's like, I'm a dude, bro.
It doesn't go away with ordination.
I'm a guy, man.
All priests wear catheters and colostomy bags.
I'm like, what's up with this? But it's just, you got to be real. You got to be real, man.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Talk about making your home a sanctuary. I think we have more pictures of Mary, Jesus, and Joseph than we do of our kids.
And it's more and more. And that's great.
My wife going crazy with the decor. I love it. I'm going to get in trouble.
Maybe kids, you'll get your face on the wall one day if you be good enough.
Good as St. Joseph and Mary.
Put your picture on the wall.
It is interesting. You mentioned, being real and being in the world, but not of the world. You can enjoy it. When I came into the church as a convert, the priest there in College Station, St. Thomas Aquinas, big shout out to those guys. Everyone there, they were so real with me and so normal. And I went and hung out with the priest, and he just was normal. And that's not what I saw the church to be at first. It was this just great holy place, and I was on the outside of it, as laity. Yeah.
It's God's home. It's God's family, right? So when you come in, it's you're not going to be robots just moving around, doing 90-degree turns. It's a fluid thing. It's a family thing. And in your home, you should feel comfortable. And yes, there has to be a certain dignity when certain things are done. Like, at Mass, you have to celebrate Mass with dignity and reverence and all that. But, outside of like those kind of environments, it's just real people, everybody struggling. I mean, all the priests that you meet and nuns that you meet, they've got their own issues, right? They're working on stuff themselves. And, it's good to just, be there for them, be real in your conversations. And yet, as you said, in the world, but not of the world. So you're not talking about filthy, disgusting things or anything like that, but you're being yourself, letting them be themselves and having a nice time. That's a family.
I would.
Yeah, go ahead.
I wouldn't have really heard about you personally, Father, if I hadn't heard from Lacey and her being like your number one fan at least in West
He's
Texas.
definitely your number one fan. For sure.
And so Lacey was like, "Oh my goodness, if you
I
could
was
get
getting jealous, actually.
Father Donald on." But I'm like, my preface to the point is, can you share something with our wives? I've got 6 daughters, and so anything for
They all homeschool, so God bless them.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Wow.
They're all in kind of their own homeschool group, so if you'll keep them in your prayers as well.
Absolutely.
But-
And I don't blame you. Hey, let me tell you right now, if I wasn't a priest and I was in the world and had a wife and a family, I'd be doing the same thing, brother.
Cool.
Let me tell you.
Glad to hear that.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give some encouragement to the mothers, though? I know you're focused on St. Joseph.
Yeah. Well, I would say, so just keeping the theme on St. Joseph, I think the ladies are going to find great comfort in him as well. Because, he's such a good man. He's such a good father. And every girl needs a dad, right?
Yeah.
And a good dad. And my experience has been, of late anyway, that a lot of girls growing up, they didn't sometimes have the best father, or maybe he wasn't present. A good man, maybe, right, who worked and provided for the family. But a lot of times he wasn't necessarily affectionate with his daughter.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a tender relationship. And so there was something kind of lacking there oftentimes. And I found anyway that in my priestly ministry, when a lot of women come for spiritual direction or counseling or just a talk, that there's a lot of insecurities that they're living with because of maybe a father wound or maybe something, right, emotionally or something worse. But women have been telling me that when they've done this consecration, that they just feel so like at peace knowing that, it's Father Joseph, it's my dad, my spiritual father. This is the same man that took care of Jesus. This is the same man who could swing an axe strong, right? And carry, stones. And yet at the same time, he really loved his wife, Mary. And sure, they never engaged in the conjugal act. Fine, right? That's what God called them to. But that doesn't mean that he really didn't love her. He did. Yeah. And I mean, he expressed that love, and I bet you he made things for her. Like little things her feminine heart would have delighted in. And, simple little things that women take such treasure in when we do, right? We're guys and we forget, we're clueless. But when you do something for a woman like that, it's a gift to her. It's so treasured. And so when a woman discovers the greatness of the fatherhood of Joseph, it's a source of great comfort and consolation and peace, knowing that you've got the terror of demons as your dad. You know, I mean, every girl. Yeah. So it's good stuff. So ladies who are going to see this or watch this, keep going to St. Joseph, because he is going to be so good to you. He's a good father who loves you, his princesses.
I think that is a big of what you're talking about, not engaging in the conjugal act. This world has got this so mixed up that's love.
Yeah.
No, it's an expression of love between a man and a woman, but that's not love. Love is what you do for them, what you choose to do for
sacrifice for the other.
Exactly. Yeah. Sacrifice. There you go. That's a great word.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, that's right.
What mediums do you have for your book? I mean, there's obviously print version.
Yeah.
What are some other ways? And are there any sort of guides that you can go along with it, or things that you can do to put it in act in your life?
Well, yeah. So we've got the paperback, right? And then we've got the ebook, audiobook. It's also available in Spanish for anyone who prefers it in Spanish.
Bueno.
Yeah. And actually, in about a month and a half, it's going to be available in 14 languages.
Wow.
I know. It's off the charts.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I know. It is nuts. So in the back of the book, in every version that I've told you, is the group format. So if you want to do it as a group, it's got discussion questions. It tells you how to do it, when to meet, and all that stuff. And I think the key thing is you learn about his virtues, and all of us can imitate those virtues, men, women, children. And so we need to be humble. We need to be pure. We need to be zealous. We need to be courageous. We need to, all those things. That is what a father does, is he teaches his children, and he basically replicates himself in his children. And so in the book, I talk about we need to become like another Joseph. Just like when we consecrate ourselves to Mary, we want to imitate her and her virtues. Well, bringing in Joseph now, we've got the whole package. We've got mom and dad. And that's what Jesus did, right? he wasn't the son of a one-parent spiritual family. Mary was his mother, Joseph was his father, and he delighted in that. He loved it. Matter of fact, he lived with them for like 30 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we imitate Jesus in that and get to know both of them and imitate them? Because all children are called to resemble their parents. I mean, physically we do when you're like, Jesus looked like Mary on some level because they're linked biologically. He didn't look like Joseph because he's not his biological father, but he looked like him in his actions. I guarantee you that Joseph had the mannerisms, the accent. He swung an axe like Joseph. He had all that stuff from Joseph, his dad. And like father, like son, right? So that's what we need to do today is imitate the path to holiness is virtues. And that's what we need.
Yeah.
This is a great segue into the question of, we know that you're a big fan of Our Lady. What does she mean to you in your life and your journey?
Oh, she's everything to me. I mean, she brought me to Jesus, right, when I had my conversion. And again, I'm a guy, right? Grace builds on nature. And so I don't have a wife as a priest, but that doesn't mean that I'm not drawn to the feminine mystery and that I don't need a woman in my life. I do, right? It's just she's not going to be my wife, but she is going to be my lady. And that's what Mary is for me. She's my spiritual mother, but she's also my queen, my princess, my lady, as we say in the Rosary, my life, my sweetness, and my hope. Yeah. I love her, right? And every guy needs beauty placed before him to be able to do the work that he needs to do, because in this fallen world, we kind of gravitate towards laziness and just kind of, letting things slip by. But when you have beauty before you, you want to sweat, you want to work, you want to slay dragons, you want to conquer nations.
Yes.
That's what men do. And so I have the most beautiful one in front of my face every day. And Jesus knew that his priests would need that. That's why when Jesus gave Mary to Christians from the cross in the person of John, right? We know that he represents all of us. But remember, John was also a priest. And so when a priest has Mary in his life, that man is going to have power. Because Our Lady will refine him and make him an officer and a gentleman, championing the truth from the pulpit, but then docile and humble with the people in the pew, knowing that they're all broken and wounded. And that's I wouldn't be able to do this without Our Lady, guys, right? I didn't sign up to fight for an institution. The church is an institution, but she's not primarily an institution. The church is the bride of Christ. I signed up to fight for beauty. I signed up to fight for a bride. I signed up to fight for this mystery, which is souls, to make every soul I come in contact with as beautiful as Our Lady, right? To be holy, without blemish, spot, or wrinkle, and eventually immaculate. That's what I want to do.
And in your conversion story, tell us about, you saw Mary, or what was that experience? Kind of a mystical experience?
Yeah, I didn't see her. I probably would have died, but I heard her voice. When the devil came into the room one night, and I freaked out, man. And I screamed out to Our Lady. I just cried out, Mary. And then I heard the most feminine, pure voice I've ever heard in my life. And it wasn't spoken to my ear, which is weird to explain. It was spoken to me. It's just hard to explain that.
I get it.
It was just, it was beyond description. And the voice said to me, Donnie, I'm so happy. And nobody calls me Donnie but my mom, but it wasn't my biological mother. It was the mother of Jesus and my spiritual mother. And I'm no mystic. I've never had that happen since. I don't have locutions or anything, but it was a gift. It was an extreme gift. And what a voice. Oh, what a voice.
You say it's interesting. It wasn't in your ear. And I was trying to explain when I was stung by bees, gosh, I was in a near-death experience, and I was thrashing in my truck on the farm, and I was completely swarmed with bees. And I heard God just simply say, stop cussing, have faith, and believe. And I just
get up and
I
go.
didn't feel any pain from that point.
Wow.
And I'm sure shock had to do with it, science, chemistry, but that's all God's making too, right? And it gave me the ability to get out of there. I get chills thinking about it.
The ear of your heart, right?
The ear of your heart. It's absolutely.
Wow.
Hey, one other thing that you're really inspiring me on that's never really clicked in my head. I think about, like, people hear about Mary, like in the nativity story and this and that, maybe in the secular world, but really not a lot about Joseph so much. And so I wonder if people might think, like, well, Jesus was a mama's boy because that's all we know about.
Right,
but when you hear about the strength of Saint Joseph and the terror of demons, that's kind of like, okay, Jesus ain't no mama's boy only. Like he,
right.
obviously he's Jesus, right? But don't misunderstand.
You
what
see
I'm
the
trying to say.
masculine side of Jesus.
Yeah,
too,
he brings out
Joseph.
Yep, that's exactly right. And that's why, like in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 2, it says, you know, there's that episode where Jesus is lost in the temple, it says, but he wasn't lost. He knew where he was, but they lost him, right? So when they found him, it says, and he went to Nazareth and was obedient to them and grew and increased in wisdom and stature before God and man. That word increase is huge because Joseph's name, the name Joseph, etymologically, it means increase. So Joseph is the increaser. He will increase your relationship with God. He will increase your virtue. He will increase your holiness. And that's what a good father does. Sure. And that's what Joseph did for Jesus. Yeah, Jesus didn't increase in his divinity. He's God. He doesn't, you know, that would be crazy. That'd be heresy.
Yeah, but
he did decrease in his human growth because he humbled himself to a human nature, which meant he went through all the stages of development from being in his mother's womb to being a baby, sucking on his thumb, to growing up, walking, then being a young man, a teenager, and all that. And he did that under the care of Joseph. I mean, there's no other man that God selected than Joseph. And that tells you everything you need to know. God doesn't obey men. God doesn't obey angels, but he humbled himself to obey two people, Mary and Joseph.
Yeah.
That is off the charts holiness, my friends.
Yeah, no doubt. Then he ran away like Father Donald Calloway did.
I was gone for like 3 months.
My mind is the story of when Jesus turned the tables over in the money changers. Somebody had to show him how to use that whip. Joseph showed him how to use that whip.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yep.
Oh, wow.
This has been awesome.
Yes, definitely.
Enjoyed every minute of it.
Yeah. Don't mean to cut you short.
Well, Father, where can more of our viewers find more of what you're doing?
Yeah, so we have, for the book anyway, we have a website we set up, which is all things St. Joseph. It's really cool. It's called consecrationtostjoseph.org. So simple. The book is Consecration to St. Joseph. Just put .org at the end.
Nice.
And you find out all. And we got the cool artwork there, which I know I see a couple of them behind you guys there. Yeah. Super cool artwork I commissioned for it. And then if you want to find out about like other places that I'm speaking or other books that I've got, you can go to fathercalloway.com. Okay. And you have to spell out the father part on that one, fathercalloway.com. But yeah, check all that stuff out.
Awesome. You know, our home parish for Tony and I, and I mean, you've gone to it your whole life, right? Is St. Joseph. So this is inspiring.
My name is Joe.
And his name is Joe.
Nice. I'm jealous. I'm jealous.
No doubt. Really?
Yeah, I'm a patron. There we go.
Well, we can put all these things in Joe can put all these things in the show notes and we can share them. That's Tony. Gosh, I just show up and they do all the work.
Yeah, we're the workers. He's the talent.
It's true. It's true. All right. So,
well, Father, thank you again for joining us this evening. And we're looking forward to the next book you come out with. Yeah. Is there any plans for something like that?
Not at the moment, because I'm just so wrapped up with this one. But I've always got ideas going through my head. But right now, I mean, this is taking up every waking minute that I've got. So, but it's awesome. I love doing it.
Maybe something for men. Get men fired up about the faith.
There you go. That'd be a good one.
Start off with St. Joseph. Yeah.
Before we go, people may have questions about the monstrances behind you. What's up with that?
Oh, okay. So these are all relics, and there's even more than this in this room. You just can't see them. But the one, I don't know if I can. So this one right here, that's actually, so there are no first-class relics of St. Joseph, right? So we don't have, nobody can claim to have a piece of his finger or a bone or anything, because nobody has that.
Or Mary,
Right, or Mary, that's right. But this is a second class. This is a piece of his cloak.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, in this reliquary right here. So that's, that's like.
What? Now, is it the gold one or the silver one?
So the gold one, actually, that one is a piece of the cross of Christ. Yeah.
Lucky.
Whoa.
I know.
Can we visit?
Yeah, right. And then this one's a piece of the cloak of Joseph. And then the other ones are all saints, first-class relics of saints.
Sweet.
Wow, that's awesome. Thanks for answering the random question. We appreciate it, Father.
No problem.
I got chills all over that one.
Yeah. Joe. You're on TV. All right.
Okay. Well, thanks again, Father, for joining us. And
thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I'm lost for words here. I'm all tongue tied. So, man, this has been.
He's
great.
gonna say like subscribe, hit a bell.
There
do
you
all
go.
that
That's what I
stuff.
was looking for. Subscribe, click the bell. Even if you want to donate, click the donate button on our YouTube page. In the meantime, be real,
Be bold.
Be Catholic.
God bless.